Hola, bienvenidos al canal, bienvenidos a un nuevo evento. En el día de hoy tenemos nuevas noticias sobre el juego tan esperado Cyberpunk 2077. Vamos a ver un ligero vistazo de lo que nos espera, que no sé yo, después de lo que nos enseñaron en el último vídeo, que fue meter unas nuevas mecánicas rollo, a ver cómo digo, como el videojuego de Sherlock Holmes, así de investigación. A ver qué nos mostrarán. Bienvenidos a todos ahí. Hola a todos los del chat. Hola Oro. Hola Crejaven28. Vamos a ver qué nos depara. Decidme por ahí por el chat qué tal se escucha. ¿Se escucha bien? ¿Se escucha mal? Supongo yo que sí, que se oirá bien. No sé si me escucháis. Bueno, la música horripilenda que han metido, rollo así de miedo. A ver. Bueno, pues ya nos queda menos para que salga el juego. El juego sale en noviembre. El veintitantos de... Sí, la verdad es que sí. El juego tiene bastante buena pinta. Pues nada, nos queda 1 minuto 45 segundos. ¿Os vais a pillar el juego? ¿No lo vais a pillar? ¿Tenéis el hype por las nubes? A ver, ¿qué me decís por ahí por el chat? Ahí estamos, el 19 de noviembre. A ver si sale con la Series X, edición especial. Que más de uno va a estar el primer día ahí haciendo cola. A ver qué precio, por qué precio saldrá, no sé. Veremos a ver si serán 400, 500, 600. Habrá que dejar un riñón, una parte del hígado. Sí, macho, yo no sé qué tienen las compañías, que se ponen todas de acuerdo para poner todos los juegos recién salidos todos juntos. Como ahora mismo para la última semana de agosto, que han adelantado el estreno de Tenet y la de los nuevos mutantes de DC, creo recordar. Que Tenet se estrena el último miércoles de este agosto y la de los nuevos mutantes es el viernes. Yo no sé. Con esto del tema del coronavirus, me parece a mí que cuanto antes lo saque mejor, macho. Y a nosotros todo lo contrario. Bueno, pues quedan 10 segundos. Vamos a ver. Voy a mirar a ver si hay subtítulos o algo. A ver. Parece que empiezan con un tráiler.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Night City Wire. This is the show from us at CD Projekt Red, where we talk about all things Cyberpunk 2077. In today's episode, we're going to be deep diving into Life Pass and showing you a brand new gameplay video, as well as having a chat to Philip from our Quest team. Then we're going behind the scenes and taking a look at how Refused are bringing the band Samurai to life. And then we're showing you another new gameplay video and having a chat to Pavel, our senior gameplay designer, about just some of the tools of destruction that will be at your disposal in Night City. So let's get started. Street Kid, Nomad or Corpo? Which will you pick first?
Vale, esto para que más o menos lo sepáis. Yo cuando estuve en Madrid nos van a enseñar una especie de cómo son las bandas rivales que hay en la ciudad. Las diferentes corporaciones que hay en el juego. Que todas ellas están conectadas con la policía, como estáis viendo ahí del FBI.
Robbing buildings, running away from badges. Iron tasted blood from a split lip. Motherfucker. Got everybody fighting for a slice of the street.
Get the fuck out of Vista.
If you keep getting jumped, you find some stronger.
A mí, por ejemplo, lo que me resultó gracioso fue en una de las misiones que la tía fue a hackear un ordenador y directamente cuando te equivocas 3 veces, automáticamente sale como una especie de animación de que la policía viene a por ti y se empiezan a escuchar por las sirenas del edificio el sonido de la policía.
My childhood? Let's see. Racing my bobber for the first time through the hills? Oh, and first kiss in the middle of a synth cornfield.
We nomads choose who to make our family.
Vale, como estáis viendo, es un claro guiño a Blade Runner 2077.
My family's in pieces. That's why I'm headed for Night City.
Makes you an outcast among outcasts.
Miss this, you know? Camaraderie.
I know. I saw it in your heart the first time we met. Know what I always liked about nomads? Your taste, no, hunger for freedom. Not easy to come by in Night City. Corp's got their grubby claws and everything.
I have those reports you asked for.
They were supposed to be ready yesterday.
The world's going to tear us apart when the word gets around.
The world's never going to find out.
If I go down, you're going down with me. No! I'm not fucking joking!
This isn't a request, V.
But no way you're fucked, right? You're the one who fixes other people's shit.
Vale, si os dais cuenta, veis el traje que tiene V, que es diferente al de los primeros trailers.
Today, they got you to zero somebody.
Va como si fuera trajeado de la corporación.
Zero you.
What's the rules, Jack? Wanna be top? Gotta have some skin in the game.
Yeah, but you're not on top. Saburo Arasaka is. And you're the pendejo who keeps him there. Work for yourself, live for yourself. That's the only way.
¿Quién quieres ser? Preguntaba ahí.
Philip, it is so good to see you again. It's actually been a while since I've had a chance to interview you about Cyberpunk. So I think for today, we'll start with a question that everybody wants to know. How does the path you pick affect your time in Night City?
It actually affects your time quite a lot throughout the whole game, but let's start at the beginning, because basically our game has 3 different starts depending on your life path. As an example, if you choose the street kid life path, you have lived most of your time in Night City. You know the streets, you know the gangs, you know the slang, you kind of know what's going on in the, let's say, lower life aspects of the city, which can of course give you lots of good opportunities also later on in the game. But if you start as a nomad, you actually used to be part of a nomad clan and a nomad family, because nomads that roam the deserts around Night City, that we call the Badlands, actually value their family above anything. But for one reason or another, you actually left that family behind, and now the beginning of the game for you will actually be how to get into Night City and how to make a new life there. Then you can also choose to actually be a corpo and choose the corporate life path. And that basically means that you're not at home in the streets of Night City or in the deserts of the Badlands, but actually inside the boardroom, because you rose the corporate ladder of the Arasaka Corporation, which basically gives you the ability to sometimes, read between the lines, read people when they're trying to do business, which of course can give you many nice opportunities later on.
So this isn't just about the start of the game. Can you maybe help people understand how this translates into the gameplay?
Yeah. So the thing is, we make Cyberpunk a real RPG, and part of that is that you can play your character from the start to the end. And of course, we have these life paths affecting the beginning of the game, but we wanted to make it so you have your life path opportunities throughout the whole
diciendo que depende de cómo vivas en el juego, vas a poder irte hacia un lado o hacia otro a ver cómo me explico, del tipo de jugador que quieras jugar. Si quieres ser más asalto, quieres ser más sigiloso.
From a corporate transport, and the owner of that corporate transport, Meredith Stout, wants you to do something else, and this is an optional objective. And even within
tiene misiones opcionales que te hace elegir irte hacia un lado y irte hacia otro.
You basically know what Meredith Stout is really about. You can read between the lines and you can get some additional options that maybe actually later enable you to do a completely different thing with the Maelstrom gang. And if you're a nomad, you know exactly some more details about how these Maelstromers would have even been able to steal a robot like that from Meredith Stout, who's part of the very powerful Militech Corporation.
Está diciendo que si te metes en la corporación puedes robar, puedes ser más maleante en la ciudad.
Dealing with higher up people like Meredith Stout. But we want to give you additional options that fit your life path very well. So later when you actually talk to the Maelstrom gang, one member of the gang offers you some illegal substance, but as a street kid, you actually know what this is about. You can talk some shop with him, and that might actually make that character like you a little bit more.
So Philip, I do have a couple of extra questions for you based on the video we just saw. And the first is about nomads. So the nomad life path, this starts in a place called the Badlands. Is this somewhere you get to visit?
Está hablando de los exteriores de la ciudad.
So the thing is, Night City is surrounded by this huge landscape that we
call gran mapa. Tiene grandes exteriores y que puedes ir donde quieras. Puedes vivir fuera de la ciudad o dentro de la ciudad. Puedes coger tu coche e irte por fuera de la ciudad. Que fuera de la ciudad es muy peligroso.
There have been many wars in the past. There's global
muchas guerras,
so most people that do live out there
muchas advertencias de las bandas rivales.
Love this life and are all about it and are very battle hardened. We of course also want to tell their stories because we want to tell many different stories throughout the cyberpunk genre, which means that you will also find missions that lead you out in the Badlands or where you deal with the people living there.
So Philip, can you tell us a little bit more about the character Padre? He's the guy we see giving
hablando del negro, creo.
Kid V in the video. Who is this man?
Ah, no, del mafioso este.
One of the fixers in Night City. And fixers are people that work as intermediaries. So if someone who has a lot of money needs a problem solved, they go to a fixer.
Dicen que este hombre va a ser el mafioso de la ciudad.
And these people are people like you, the Cyberpunk.
Que si tienes problemas, que vas a tener que llamar a él.
So Padre specifically works from Haywood, which is where you as a street kid grew up in, so you already know him. You might have already seen another one of our fixers, who is called Dexter Deshawn, and he works in a different part of the city. So specifically Padre, you might know him as a street kid, but even if you played other life paths, you might sooner or later meet him because he's operating in Haywood, which is a pretty big place with many good jobs. So if you want to make some cash there, you will sooner or later deal with Padre.
Philip, thank you so much for joining us. Now on my first playthrough, pretty sure I'm going to be picking Nomad, but for those watching, we would love to know what you'll be picking, so have a think about it and send us a tweet. Don't forget that later in this episode, we're going to be showing
ahora parece ser que vamos a ver la gran cantidad de armas que hay en el juego. Ahí tenemos a Johnny Silverhand, más conocido como Keanu Reeves.
Now in future episodes we're going to talk about things like radio stations and even the original story.
Parece ser que vamos a escuchar las bandas sonoras del juego.
Johnny Silverhand's band Samurai to Life.
La banda de Johnny Silverhand, Samurai.
I wouldn't write these lyrics for myself.
Vale, parece ser que ya lo tenemos la banda sonora en Spotify.
Who is this character and what would they write about, or what's their agenda? Hear the wish of the oppressed. it's interesting to try to like catch a language that's his and try to catch a language that's like part of this game.
Ahí tenemos a Keanu. Vale.
There's a reason why we're here.
Vale, parece ser que es la grabación de la banda sonora. ¿Cómo se grabó?
It was Piotr maybe who was a fan of the band.
Se grabó en Suecia, en Estocolmo.
My voice, and he said, "Oh, that's a perfect voice for Johnny."
And that they wanted, I guess, a sound that was a bit contemporary from when Johnny's supposed to have had the band, because he's sort of like an anti-establishment kind of guy.
Gonna drag a corporal rat on stage, make him kneel, douse him with gas.
Esperemos que en el juego podamos coger una guitarra y estampársela al primero que pillemos por la calle.
That's definitely something that's
que podemos controlar a Johnny. A Johnny Silverhand.
Northern Sweden.
He's like the future version of us. You know?
Qué bueno.
So I think it makes sense. I think it totally makes sense for us to be here making these songs about him or for him. You know? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No trills. But yeah, but like wide vibrato.
And then, I mean, just sort of build, I mean,
yeah,
slowly build sort of intensity.
We don't have a different mode than just going all in. So we really work on these songs, trying to make them as good as possible. But then they're not actually our songs.
It's interesting as a musician to play another musician, because that's essentially what we're doing. I mean, we're not here as Refused, we're here as Samurai. And I'm here with Johnny Silverhand, you know? So it's like the voice we're representing here is someone else.
We'll never fade away!
It's been a mind fuck.
El sueño ese que estaba ahí detrás, ahí al fondo.
Just like second nature to me, because I've been doing this for a very long time. But then when someone comes in and says,
"I'm happy with everything except for Azalin."
Parece que lo han pillado.
Again, it's Azza. Azza. Okay.
The shouting's great, but think of that accent, or think of that like enunciation. It's a bit weird because it's a very different way of singing when you're screaming like that, and it's hard to sort of
swallowing some syllables there.
Adjust your accent.
Oh yeah, just try it again.
So it's been a bit kind of frustrating.
It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great.
But I mean, I get it. I mean, we have to maintain the illusion that this character that's a character of the game also is me, like when I'm singing it. So it makes sense. But yeah, it's a bit different to have someone telling you exactly how to enunciate things, because I'm not used to. Usually people just like give me a thumbs up, and then like you think the things like the rhythm, and you think about the pitch, and you think about all these things. But then someone comes in and like, that word sounded weird. I'm like, what? No, that's how I sing. But so it's been a very a bit painful at times. But it's all right.
See this soon, I'm chipping in. Roll the bones, I'm chipping in. Belt that cone, I'm chipping in. Mayhem close.
Bueno, ¿qué tal os parece la banda sonora del juego? Parece que va a dar juego. Seguramente que muchos de los que hay en el chat les gusta el rock metálico. Más de uno está deseandito ya de escuchar el juego. Bueno, habrá que mirar la banda sonora ahora en Spotify a ver qué tal suena. Hasta el día que salga el juego.
You can already find 3 Samurai tracks available on streaming services, Chippin' In, Never Fade Away, and The Ballad of Buck Ravers. But we're excited to announce a 4th new song called A Like Supreme, which is coming to streaming services today. That means you can check it out once the show is over. Don't forget that if you're tuning in late, or if you just want to watch anything again, we will be uploading everything to our channel soon. Next up, Pavel and I are going to introduce you to some creative ways that you can solve problems in Night City.
Vale, parece que vamos a ver un ligero vistazo de los problemas que hay en Night City.
Hey V, I have a job for you. A client of mine is making an arms deal. He needs protection. It could get hot, very hot. The gun dealers are Maelstrom. Alas, nothing ever transpires as planned with them. You better gear up for this.
Vale, parece que es un rifle de pulsos. Francotirador. Madre mía, qué locura de armas, colega. Y espérate que no hemos visto todas, seguramente. A ver si muestran las pistolas que las balas doblan las esquinas. Vale, parece que esto es una SMG. Mira, ahí. Ahí salen las balas dirigidas. Va a dar juego las balas teledirigidas. A ver la katana. Vale, armamento cibernético. Vale, las garras mantis. Guau, colega. Uf. Vale. Guantes electromecánicos. Lanzamisiles. Vale, parece que Waka Kokada es la del armamento.
Pavel, thank you so much for joining me. Now, there was an awful lot in that video, right? Because there's more than just guns.
Absolutely. We have melee weapons, we have ranged weapons, we have cyberware, we have offensive cyberware, defensive cyberware, armor. We could talk for hours and hours about this stuff.
I think just for today's episode,
vale, parece que ser que han estado bastante tiempo pensando las armas y las armaduras.
So we have 3 distinct types of guns in our game. We have power weapons, we have tech weapons, and we have smart weapons.
Están las armas pequeñas, las armas poderosas y las armas tecnológicas. Estas son las armas poderosas.
Hiding behind cover or hiding behind a wall. Now, tech weapons, on the other hand, use
las armas tecnológicas
power to propel a fully metal projectile to extreme velocities. What that allows them
que puede ir a varias velocidades según deje expulsado.
To hit somebody who's not even aware that you're there. Smart weapons use guided
missiles armas pequeñas
to actually track targets in real time. So you can hit somebody who's dodging, running away from you.
Las armas pequeñas son las que parece ser que las balas son teledirigidas.
Cyberpunk doesn't just contain FPS elements, right? It's also a fully fledged RPG.
Dice que tiene elementos FPS con toques RPGs.
Introducing those RPG elements into gunplay.
Que como han introducido elementos RPG en el juego.
Now, we've spent a considerable amount of time merging the RPG and FPP side of our game.
Que han empleado bastante tiempo en mezclar RPG con FPS.
Mercenary to a legend in the world of Night City. V becomes more and more proficient in using weapons as the game progresses. So they will see that reload times become shorter, the accuracy of your weapons grows, You will have faster aiming time, you will move faster with your weapons. Everything becomes more in your control, and that gives you more opportunities to defeat the biggest encounters that we've designed for you.
So I have prepared a few extra questions for you, Pavel, if you're feeling up to it.
Of course.
Okay, well the first is going to be, how do you find more weapons in Night City? Like, where will players be looking for them?
Está preguntando que si puedes encontrar más armas.
Everywhere for new
Y está diciendo el muchacho que mires todo, que hay un montón de armas. Hay un montón de armas en todo el juego.
Will be taken from enemies or loot caches that we have everywhere in Night City. The weapons rarities range from common through uncommon up to rare and then legendary. And as they go in rarity,
comunes, no comunes, legendarias.
Legendary weapons are very specific in such a way that they possess unique abilities.
Las legendarias tienen poderes únicos. Esto parece el Division 2.
Need to make some tough choices to find some legendary weapons, because maybe they need to choose whether to kill a person who holds the legendary weapons that they want, or to spare them because they like them as a character.
So next question, let's talk about weapon modifications. What mods can people give to their weapons in Night City?
Está preguntando que si van a poder modificar las armas.
One of them would be modifications that we call attachments. So these would be scopes and silencers, and you can see them actually being attached to your weapon.
Que si silenciadores, que si cargadores.
And they give you more opportunities in gameplay.
Para tener más oportunidades en las batallas en el juego.
Chips that you install in your weapon, and they actually change the statistics of the gun. They can give you damage, they can give you accuracy, or they can give you.
Que dan más daño, más precisión.
The gunplay on a more fundamental level, so they can give you non-lethal rounds.
Según el nivel.
To tear through that armor.
Según en el nivel necesitas unos modificadores u otros.
Final question. Why don't you tell us about your favorite weapon then?
Vale. ¿Cuál es su mejor arma? Le está preguntando.
Oh, there are so many weapons that it's hard to choose just one.
Hay varias armas.
Some manufacturers with their weapons
manufacturadas.
That I absolutely adore. The first manufacturer would be Tsunami Defense Systems.
Tsunami Defense Systems.
Sniper rifle Nekomata. That's a tech sniper
la Tsunami Nekomata dice que es una de las mejores.
Actually hit somebody who's hiding behind cover or who doesn't even know you're there.
Puedes disparar delante y detrás de cualquier cobertura.
Is a shotgun. One of the shotguns that we have in the game is Budget Arms.
La Carnage, una escopeta.
Pure steel, and it weighs a ton. However, you can cut a person clean in half with it. Another shotgun that I absolutely love, it's for a more refined approach, I would say, is a smart shotgun, Kangtao Zhuo. That thing has
vale, otra escopeta mini, que es esta, parece ser.
Now, killing an
que parece que puedes disparar 8 objetivos a la vez.
Pavel, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm actually pretty interested to see what kind of weapons people discover when they play Cyberpunk for themselves. Before we end episode 2, this is a reminder that those who wish to dive deeper into the lore can now pick up the world of Cyberpunk.
Vale, parece ser que esto es la guía oficial.
Book created in collaboration with Dark Horse Books that will give you an extensive look at what makes Night City.
Bueno, la guía parece ser un libro para ver todo del juego.
That is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget that if you've missed anything or if you just want to watch again, we will be uploading everything to our channels shortly. Thank you
vale,
so
que estemos
much
atentos a los canales oficiales.
Night City Wire episode 3 soon.
Y que nos vemos en el episodio 3 del Night White. Bueno, pues parece ser que nos emplazan próximamente. Supongo que el mes que viene. Mira, otra figurita. Bueno, nos emplazan para otra próxima misión. Supongo que será el mes que viene. Nos acostumbrarán a hacer uno por mes. Así que nada, pues muchas gracias por haber visto el vídeo. Y nada, compartirlo y darle un like, que ya sabéis que ayuda un montón. Y nos vemos en el siguiente vídeo, que supongo que será la presentación de del próximo evento de Sony o de Microsoft, que tiene que estar al caer. Venga, un saludo, adiós.